Good evening, Philippines. Good morning, good afternoon, world. Welcome to another interesting episode here at The English Blog. I'm Adrian from Makati City, Philippines.
I'm Christine from Daytona Beach, Florida.
And I'm Sarah, coming at you all from Northern Italy.
And we are the English Blog team. We are a blog of English teachers by English teachers and for English teachers.
In today's episode, Season 4, Episode 8, we are talking about how to freelance as a teacher. So if you're living in a country like the Philippines or really anywhere else and you want to teach as a freelancer, well, we have some tips for you.
At the English Blog, we provide customized lesson plan making services, life and career coaching sessions, weekly vlog and blog content related to ESL education. For any inquiries, messages at our website, www.theenglishblog.com or at these social media handles.
So besides our main site, as Adrian said, www.theenglishblog.com, where you can find all of our content all together, we are also across social media. We premiere our videos on Facebook at English Blog for Teachers. They also go on YouTube later, so you can subscribe and watch there as well. We're also on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter, where we post upcoming blogs as well as articles that we publish on the blog. So check us out across your preferred social media. And let us know what you think, what topics you'd like to see. Let us know about your experience as a freelance teacher. And this is kind of a big topic. So if you're really, really interested in it, then let us know what kind of subtopics you want to see from here. We're also on the radio at 90.5 Good Vibes FM, broadcasting from Mindanao. So you can catch our vlogs there as well. So check us out, talk to us. We love to hear from you.
All right, and here goes the first question. What is freelance teaching, Sarah?
So freelance teaching is when you are teaching kind of on your own. You are not hired by a school. And today we're going to be talking about true individual freelancing. Sometimes you can also get hired on like a contract basis by a school where you're not an official employee, but that's not what we're going to talk about today. We're talking about being a true solo act here. You're there and you are teaching English and you don't work for a company, you don't work for a school, you are self-employed, and depending on where you live, you may or may not be registered as a self-employed business person or as a self-employed like business itself. That depends on where you live. But that's what we're talking about today. When you're teaching all on your lonesome, but it doesn't have to be lonesome because there are lots and lots of people doing it, including some of the English Blog team members.
You know what, guys? I just realized this now while we're having this video, that this is a very timely episode, you guys, because as you know, so many people lost their jobs in this pandemic. And so this is a great opportunity for those of you who lost your jobs to rise and shine to this new opportunity of becoming a sought after freelance English teacher. Our next question is, what are the pros and cons of being a freelance teacher? And I'll start with the pros first. Depending on how you set up your freelancing job, you have the freedom of choice for the following. Number one, the types or age bracket of your students you work with. And when I say types, that could be children or adults or working professionals or what have you. Number two, how much you charge per student. And number three, more flexible work hours. And here's Christine to share with you the cons of being a freelance teacher.
And yeah, one of the worries that people have, if not one of the biggest worries that they have, is this lack of stability. So it might be a little bit inconsistent with work and with cash flow. And yeah, as Adrian said, you do have flexibility, but some people, it could be a problem for them. And then for others, there might be a lack of health benefits because when you work in a company, you have that stability of having health insurance and a 401k, but you don't exactly have that as a freelancer. You have to get that yourself. And then also the lack of structure. In a company, you work a 9 to 5, you arrive at work at a certain time, and then you leave at a certain time. And you have a structure as a company that you're in this department, you have this certain role within this department. But if you're a freelancer, you have to create that yourself. And that can pose a challenge for many people. And this lack of stability or structure isn't necessarily a bad thing. You just have to understand that it's the reality of freelancing, and you kind of have to develop that stability and structure yourself. It's not for everybody, but some people thrive in this setup. So if you try it out, you'll see if it works out for you. And again, it's not for everybody, but time will tell if it works for you.
Now, let's answer the question, how can you find and retain clients? So let me start to answer this question. I have listed 3 tips for you guys. One is build a strong brand. It's not only color choices, not only logo or choice of words, but generally how your potential clients perceive you based on how you promote your work in your chosen platform, whether that's social media or your own website or your own Facebook page. Number 2, we highly suggest you market creatively. Be part of Facebook groups specifically related to the service you offer. And number 3, give your best and exceed your students' expectations, because if they like your service, it will be a word of mouth and it will be much easier for you. I'm sure your students will refer you to other potential students that you can have.
Yeah, exactly. Adrian gave some great tips there. And beyond those, I think when you're starting out and you're looking for those initial clients, it's important to advertise, but also advertise strategically, because it does take a lot of time. This could be another one of the cons. You do have to do a lot of stuff that's not English teaching when you freelance. And advertising takes time, because it takes time to make these ads, to post these ads, and also to respond to these ads. I think that is a big problem when you're first starting out. Depending on your ads, you can get bogged down in way too many replies. And when you don't respond to them, they don't like it. And if you're in a small town, it makes you look bad, and word of mouth goes both ways. Um, so you need to actually, like, don't bite off more than you can chew, and be prepared for the actual work that's going to be in there, because that is part of building your, as Adrian said, your brand. You want to be known as somebody who's competent, who responds to people with a yes or a no, and is just all around available. So don't forget to be nice to the clients that you don't take as well. Make sure that you're clear and just honest and kind at all times. And yeah, and that's also the same way you'll retain your clients, is by making people like you. And especially if these people are choosing you, a freelancer, when they probably, I mean, most people who live in most places, there's probably going to be another option. There's going to be some kind of competition, whether it's a formal school or a little academy for kids after school, or somebody's company offering corporate English lessons, or another freelance teacher. There's going to be some kind of competition. And what is going to make people want to come to you is you. That's what it's all about. You don't have an amazing institution behind you. You don't have that name. You have you. So you need to really, really invest in yourself and learning kind of how to make people like you. I mean, chances are people already like you, because most people are nice. But remember that that's part of what you're selling, is the experience of learning English with me versus learning English with somebody else.
That's right. So again, we're not saying that freelancing is easy, okay? And that's why we're here to help. And that's why we're giving you these tips to prepare you for this tough journey you're going to take on, because we want to set you up to succeed.
Tough but meaningful, and
That's
very
right.
fulfilling.
Yes. Our next question is, how do you position yourself in the market? I like the number 3, so I have 3 tips for you guys. Number 1, reflect on what makes you unique, your credentials, your competencies, and years of experience in the industry. Number 2, research online on how much people with your credentials charge based on your target clientele. And number 3, leverage your brand by building on your strengths and use creative marketing strategies to get your posters and videos noticed. Remember that in marketing, image is everything. What do you think, Christine?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I'm going to be talking about this from the perspective of someone who has seen people struggle recently because of competition with companies abroad, specifically companies and schools that are in America, Australia, and in Great Britain. Before, lots of students, specifically students from Northeast Asian countries, traveled to the Philippines to learn English, and mainly because of the lower cost of studying English there. And now, with everything online, you have people enrolling in other English speaking schools in other countries. And that's because there are no more worries about high travel costs and difficult to access visas. They can just easily access that education now. And so, if you want to position yourself in the market, as Adrian said, it helps if you have the needed credentials and the experience and to leverage those credentials and experience. And it also helps if you have some international experience and exposure. For example, if you've worked in an international company or you've even visited or lived in a foreign country, highlight those experiences. Highlight your teaching experience. If you have credentials like TESOL, CELTA, or a teaching license, highlight those. If you don't, it would help to work on getting those. And when you have all of those things, really emphasize what you have and what you can bring to the table. And it's kind of tricky if you have a ton of experience and you don't want to mention all of those, because I'm a former career peer mentor at university, and that's something that I told my peers again and again when helping them with their resumes and promoting themselves, is to highlight the things that are important to the job that you have, or the job that you're applying for, or the clientele that you're trying to attract. So target those specific things, whether it's your CELTA or your teaching license or your foreign teaching experience, and you should be able to go a long way.
Besides just focusing about, you need to focus on you, what you have to offer, how you can brand yourself, as Adrian said, that kind of thing. But also, especially when you're starting out, you need to know where you are and who the clients around you are, because you might not get that client that you want, depending on where you are or the resources you have available to you. So if you're just starting out and you're looking to work ASAP and make money as soon as possible, you really need to think about where you live, what kinds of people around you are looking, like what kind of English are you, if you want to teach professional adults, but you live right across from a middle school, maybe you should think about starting with some kids. You have to think about who's available and who is going to want somebody like you. So don't forget that. You need to cultivate you as well. But you also need to understand who's out there. You could be the best English teacher in the world, but if you're living in a village of one person and it's you're not going to be teaching English.
Right. So then the next step would be a question for Sarah. How do you determine pricing, Sarah?
This, I think, is the most frequent question I get from people, because I have taught a lot of freelance English. And I think that this is a tricky question, because the true answer is it really depends. And it depends on what I was just saying. It depends on where you are, who your clients are, who you're going to be teaching, and who you are. So there's no one size fits all answer to this. My answer to you is definitely get a living wage. And people, there are always teachers that try to undercut people in the freelance world. And when you look at the advertising, you'll see it. The price is extraordinarily low or something. But I in my experience, you don't really have to do that, because like we've been saying, the reason that people choose you is not usually the price. If it's usually you, and it's them. Do you guys align in what you want? And in my experience, people get a little bit sketched out if the price is too low. But I've only taught freelance in Europe and the US. But yeah, people are like, they don't want the bottom one. They don't want the top one either. And some people really like to feel like they're getting a deal. So that is my first word of advice. Post a little higher than you will accept. That way, if they accept it, then great, you get more money than you needed. And two, if they don't, then you have a little wiggle room to come down. Three, and this is my advice to the people that ask me, how do I know how much to charge? I simplify this, and I have 3 levels of service. And depending on where I live, I change the price a little bit. For example, France, the cost of everything is just higher. People will pay more money for it than in Spain. So I lowered my prices in Spain because everything is cheaper in Spain. Okay, so the first level is just conversation. And this works for me because I'm usually teaching English in a country where there are very few native speakers and a high demand for native speakers. So this is conversation. I go to a cafe, they give me maybe 15 euro. I do absolutely zero preparation. Don't forget to include preparation in your pricing because that will get you. Do not charge. You're going to give them the price per teaching hour, but that price needs to include all of the back end work. So my lowest price has no prep at all. I show up and I speak my mother tongue and we call it a day. It's also the same price I use for kids that just need homework help, because again, it requires little or no prep. We're working from their school workbook. Then you want to raise your price as your work increases. So if you're having to come there with worksheets and print offs and really think about what you're going to be doing that day, you need to charge more for that because it takes more time and it takes more skill. And then the highest level of pricing that I have are people that need really, really, really specific things. So this is where you're going to charge a premium for business English, legal English, medical English, test prep, stuff that it doesn't just suffice to be able to speak English. You need to not only be able to teach it, but you also need to know something else really well, whether it's law or this particular test, something like that. Or sometimes people that have special, like I taught a lot of bilingual children. So they speak fluent English, but they're basically illiterate. They can't read or write. That's a very different type of knowledge than just helping a Spanish kid who's doing their basic English homework. So I would charge more for that because it requires special knowledge and special ability beyond just general English. What do you think, Adrian? How do you do your pricing?
Actually, I just want to ask a follow-up question, Sarah. So in order for a potential student to be coded a specific pricing, do you actually do like a discovery call first, like to gauge them where they're at? Is that how you do it?
That is an excellent question, Adrian. Yeah, so in order to understand the pricing, usually in my ads, I post the pricing that most people want, which in my case, in my particular situation, is usually conversational English. I do a lot. That's the majority of my courses. And then I list the price for that. I say 15 euro an hour. And then I say for more, I can do more. I can do all of these things. And we'll talk and we'll set a price because it can be a little bit different. And in my mind, I have these ideas of my fixed price. I'm not going to take less than 45 euro for preparing somebody for the TOEFL. That kind of thing. And so, yeah, and I always have a first meeting. It's never a full hour and it's not a lesson. It's usually 15, 25 minutes where I meet the person. And in this meeting, I am deciding really 2 things. One, do I want to work with you? Because that's part of the benefit of being a freelancer. If I don't like you, I don't have to work with you. And I tell you that my schedule is full, unfortunately. So first I'm deciding, do I want to work with this person? Then I'm deciding, what does this person need? And how am I going to give it to them? How much effort is it going to take for me to give it to them? And then that's how I determine the pricing. And at the end of that meeting, you should offer them a price, because what's the point of that meeting? You're there to make a deal. So you need all the information you need to make the deal, and they need all the information they need to make the deal. And price is a critical part of that. So you should give them your final price for the service after you've talked to them and you understand what it is they want from you and what you're going to give them.
I
Great
really
question.
like those tips, Sarah. And I just want to add this. While having that discovery call is important, sometimes along the way, it's actually like after your first few lessons is when you realize that this person doesn't match your
Yeah.
preference in terms of values and principles, and for example, the way they communicate with you. I have actually parted ways with a few students before because I didn't like how they treated me. So I agree with what Sarah mentioned so far. The tips are so on point.
How do you tactfully do that? Because I think that's a really important thing that I haven't really had to do it. I've had to do it with kids, and I just say, I think your child needs, we're not clicking, but I think it's hard to do with an adult. So I'm curious as to how you do that, and how do you know that moment when you're like, I don't want to do this.
Thank you for that follow-up question, Sarah. I have a really long patience with people, and I try to be as tolerant as possible. But I also know when they've already crossed the line. And I tell them as respectfully, as nicely as possible, but I make sure that they know that this is why I don't want to work with them anymore. Yeah, of course, sometimes it doesn't have to be foul language. Sometimes it's choice of words and how they say it, for example, that throws me off. And I'm very big on character. And the people that I have, the regular students that I have right now, I feel we have the same values and like expression of character so far. So that's how I do it.
And as a teacher, I think it's really, really important to know your value and your worth as a teacher. And so, yeah, it's not just one way where the students are selecting you. You are selecting the student. Is this someone that I want to work with? And you're a valuable teacher and you're in demand, so you should have that ability to pick and choose who you're going to ultimately work with, and then lay out your boundaries and expectations. I mean, you do this even in a normal school. As a teacher, you lay your boundaries and expectations. This is what I expect from you, and these are lines that cannot be crossed. I mean, we are in this space together and we need to be able to work effectively together. And you want to do that early on. You don't want to do that very late in the game when behaviors or something crops up later on, and that's when it becomes really difficult to deal with. So do that very early on so that you can have a good working relationship with your student.
Exactly. And I think to tie it back with our advertising discussion, birds of a feather flock together. The people that you're teaching are the types of people that you're going to be teaching in the future, because that's how word of mouth works. So if you are in with a subgroup of people or just type of person that you're just not into, as Adrian said, it's better to just professionally peace out and go another route. Look for people that are different from that, because you're like attracts like. Once you and especially once you get established as doing this thing really well, you're going to get people that need that, and your clients are going to become, I think, in my experience over time, more like consistent. I always get the same type of client after a while, like.
Yeah, and that's super important because having that good quality relationship in your teaching experience goes a long way. The thing is, skills and competencies take some time to teach, but the values that you learn and how you express it through your personality and your character and choice of words actually takes up a lifetime. So And we can only do so much as teachers. They have to learn it themselves in their personal experiences and in their families. And then the teachers will just come in to help them with the competencies and the skills that they need to learn. But other than that, the values, it's really, it's a personal work. And now we've come to the last question for this episode. And that is, how can you scale up and succeed as a freelancer?
So how do I scale my freelance business? So the best way to scale, in my opinion, is word of mouth. You have to do a good job. You have to be a good teacher, or at least somebody that's a mediocre teacher that's just likable. You need to actually, people need to like you in order to tell other people about you. The other thing I would say is, as you scale up, and like the bigger you want to be, the more and more important that advertising becomes. And so, yeah, you start off really small and you get a core group of clients, and hopefully you get a lot of different experiences and you build like expertise in a field. And then I would say scale up leading with that skill. So whether you've spent a lot of time teaching kids, you can lead with the kids if you like it, of course. If you do a bunch of test prep, lead with the test prep. I will say that I think that the real money to be made in freelance teaching is in groups, because you generally, yeah, I guess we didn't talk about group pricing, but if you have a group, you charge slightly less per person. So like if I'm doing group conversation or something, instead of charging €15, maybe I'll charge 12. I think 10 is too little for me. We'll split the difference, or you give a discount if you get a person that comes in with a bunch of people already. And so you charge a little bit less per head, but the benefit is you're making more per hour, because it still is just 1 hour of your time. But now instead of making €15, you're making €35.
I can really vouch for that, by the way. That was an easy $50 an hour, just having even a small group class. So I definitely.
Exactly. Yeah, the small groups. And then it's also oftentimes like easier to teach because you've just got more to play off of each other. It makes the material preparation time like more worth it, because you're going to get more for that hour of prep of making these photocopies. So groups are where it's at if you want to make big money, in my opinion, unless you happen to live in like an amazing place. I once got approached to like teach English in Switzerland to like I don't know, some kind of princess from Dubai, but like those are few and far between. And I didn't take that job because, as Adrian said, sometimes you just don't like people and you just don't want to do the job. But I think in general, the group classes are the way to go to scale up your business. I also think if you're really wanting to make if you really want to make money, as Christine said, you need to get the certifications if you don't have them already, because the certifications will allow you to teach higher paying clients, which are going to be people that need specialized skills, people taking exams or going to university or that kind of thing. And that pays more than helping kids with homework. What do you think, Adrian? How have you scaled up your business?
Yeah, so for me, I will end the episode tonight with, again, 3 sets of tips. 1, learn from your mistakes and never stop experimenting on what could potentially work to grow your business. 2, find out the real reasons why some of your students don't stay with you longer. Number 3, keep promoting your brand and continue expanding your professional network to get referrals. And through it all, whatever happens, do not ever forget to enjoy the journey. Because at the end of the day, more value lies on not how many mistakes or how few mistakes you've made along the way, but how many lessons have changed you and your service for the better. we're in the business of changing people's lives by teaching them this language. So I hope that you guys found value in what we've shared, and I wish that there was a vlog like this when I was starting as a freelance English teacher, because we have covered a lot. And if you guys have further questions about what we've talked about tonight, please do leave it in the comment section. And if you have any tips to share with us as well, please share it in the comment section too. And just reminding you guys that the English blog team provides customized lesson plan making services, life and career coaching sessions, weekly vlog, and blog content related to ESL education. Please visit our website at www.theenglishblog.com and our social media handles.
Like, share, subscribe, follow the English blog all across social media. We premiere our vlogs on Facebook and on the radio, 90.5 Good Vibes FM Mindanao. You can also find us across Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. You can find all of our handles on our Facebook page and our website, www.theenglishblog.com.
And that is it for today's episode, ladies and gentlemen, fellow lifelong learners, student of life. I am Adrian from Makati City, Philippines.
I'm Christine from the lovely Daytona Beach, Florida.
And I'm Sarah, an American in Italy.
So keep learning, you all. Stay healthy and happy. Until next time, bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.